It's a little after 10:45, so it's 10:48. I don't know why I said it that way. Anyway, 10:48 p.m. So it's really late for me. I'm usually at the gym around 6 to 8, sometimes between 8 to 10. So for me to be here at 10:48 and only starting my workout is quite unusual. There was a huge part of me that didn't even want to show up. But that's kind of the thing. That's the kind of thing you're gonna have to learn to deal with. Not every day at the gym is going to be fun, and you're not going to want to come to the gym every day either. And this is coming from me, someone who's been going to the gym for 12 years, and I like certain aspects of working out. Like, I don't necessarily consider lifting a chore. I consider some kinds of cardio a chore, but the act of lifting itself, more often than not, I don't consider it a chore. But today, it definitely is a chore. So if there's anyone out there that's like just starting to go to the gym or start doing something that's, I don't know, like it is kind of just the third day or second day of the new year. So I'm sure people are still working on their resolutions and haven't quit yet. But if it is only the second or third day and things are already beginning to suck, just show up to the arena, so to speak, whatever your arena might be. If your goal was to be a better student and your arena is the library or something, then at the bare minimum, just go to the library. Just be where you need to be, even though you don't want to be there. And then eventually, your mind kind of starts doing the necessary things as you go with the motions. These things aren't going to feel good every day. There are some days, so like when I first started into lifting, I wasn't a huge fan of, so I started off overweight, and so I had to run and all that kind of stuff to lose weight. But I wasn't a huge fan of running, and I would still run twice a day in order to achieve that goal. Some days were better than others. Like some days I would get kind of pumped if I beat a PR or something like that. But more often than not, I just showed up to show up. So yeah, anyway, I'm doing this pull down that I guess I just came up with. It seems to be helping with some of my shoulder mobility. And so I've been doing this for like a few sets now. So if you have one of these machines, try it out. This and backward walking is going to be my warm-up. I'm starting off with this. I'm going to backward walk after this. And then we'll get to the main workout. So I guess besides just showing up, like just within the gym, one of the things like I like to do on days that I'm not really feeling it, that working out is a chore, is to do certain movements that are light, but I know feel good, like stretch your body good and gets the blood flowing. And so that's why I was doing the pull downs. And then the other thing that I like to do is some sort of slow cardio. It can also be like a slow movement. Sometimes it can be something like flies and pull downs, but very light, just kind of, I'm getting a pump, getting a little bit of blood flowing and stuff like that. Another movement that makes me feel that way is backward walking. With backward walking, I'm kind of just able to mindlessly do it. If if your gym has one of these self-propelled treadmills, self-propelled meaning it's not moving and then you're just moving your legs to keep up with the machine. Rather, you're actually moving the machine with your leg. So if you have one of these, you can kind of just walk backwards and just walk backwards like you would do usually, and you don't really even have to think about balance. With like machines such as the Stairmaster and the treadmill, you have to keep up with it. You can't just like you can't just let go. You kind of always have to keep up with the pace, and it becomes that feeling of it being a chore still exists. But with the self-propelled treadmill, I'm moving at whatever pace I want to, and then the machine will move with me. It allows me to not have to like move to the whim of the machine, so to speak. And what that does seems to be that I'm like my mind is able to ease in or get ready. Like, all right, like go from that state of I don't really want to do it. All right, I guess I'll do it. To man, I'm having fun doing it. So to get me through some of those different phases, what I like to do is just so like right now it's on like 7 resistance. It feels the most, I guess, kind of natural in the sense that I don't have to apply more force than what I usually feel like I have. Like if I were walking outside, that's about the amount of pressure that I feel like I'm applying with my feet. As I go into 8, 9, and 10, it feels like I actually have to push it forward. So right now, by being in that zone where the movement feels natural, I'm able to slowly get the endorphins flowing. Slowly, like it's a challenging enough maneuver. It's still walking backwards, which seems to require a little bit more balance calculations by your body than forward walking. And so what it feels like is there's still like some sort of cognitive action going on while I'm just doing actual physical work. And that seems to bring my body up to speed, so to say, with what's about to happen. And once the endorphins start kicking in, I'm slowly able to increase how challenging something is. So like I'll probably do this for 10 minutes, then I'll go at 8 and 9 speed for about another 10 minutes, and then go at 10 resistance, sorry, not speed, for another 10 minutes. This slow ramping up of the effort. So I guess fatigue kind of is, like if I had to define fatigue, it is like the lack of the ability to get pumped, like to get jacked up about something. Like maybe you can deadlift 315, but maybe someday you can't get pumped up enough for it. Like no matter what you do, it's gonna feel like shit. That's kind of what fatigue is to me. And so while I don't expect myself to do anything super extraordinary today, I'm also aware that I do have a lot to give today. And the way that I'm able to bring that out of myself is instead of jumping straight into the deep end, I'm kind of going to dip the toe. And maybe in most cases, dipping the toe is probably not the right way to go, especially if you're just trying to get over fear or jumping in a pool or something. But sometimes that is the way to go. Instead of sitting on the side of the pool. If you're someone who's sitting on the side of the pool, dipping your toe is a big step. Then going down to your shins or knees is the next big step. And then after that, you just kind of jump in. Right now, the pull downs, I kind of dip my toe. Now I'm talking, I'm recording. now I'm starting, like, now the motions are back into play, and I'm like, oh, okay, I've been here before. I've been fatigued and pushed through and gotten a good workout. And then my body starts realizing, oh yeah, we've been here before. And then the endorphins start kicking in. And then before you know it, you're having a good workout. Anyway, yeah, just some backward walking cardio thoughts about how to get pumped up. I'm gonna do this for another 15 minutes or so, and let's fast forward to the first set after that. So, no, I'm talking to the camera. That's fine, you can. So the first working set is the first exercise after the warm-up is going to be an alternate tricep pushdown to alternate kettlebell curls, but to both of them I'm kind of adding an isometric and an alternate aspect to it. It allows me to challenge the muscles but without using heavy weight. And this kind of goes back to the thing I was talking earlier, is managing fatigue. When you're fatigued, you can't necessarily lift heavy weights, but there are other ways you can challenge your body. And so yeah, this is just one of them. Holding it at the bottom forces an isometric contraction of the triceps and like hits the triceps in a different kind of way. So like if instead of doing just repeated reps, if you do reps in which you're doing an isometric contraction on the opposing hand, at least me personally, I find a really good pump when I do workouts that are of this way. And I mean, I'm not saying that this is like optimal for growth or anything, but what is optimal for growth or whatever is challenging yourself. And while there might be, like in a regular tricep pushdown, you're challenging yourself usually with the weight, but on days where you don't necessarily feel like lifting heavy weight, there are alternate ways by which you can challenge your muscles, and that's by probably increasing the reps, but with a light weight, adding different tempos, doing things like isometric contractions and holding and things of that nature. Supersetting that with alternate kettlebell curls, but again similar to the tricep pushdowns, I'm holding the bicep contraction halfway. This forces the bicep to stay contracted while the other one is working, challenging the isometric aspect of contraction. So usually most people train in the concentric and eccentric phase in a regular lift, but by throwing in movements like these that require you to hold the contraction, you're also working the isometric of it. So yeah, this is the first exercise. For the second superset, kind of sticking to the alternate tricep pushdowns, but this time with a rope grip. The rope grip allows me to target the long head of the tricep a little better, and also it allows me to do like this wrist flexion at the bottom, which gives me just a little bit extra contraction that a regular tricep pushdown won't. Going for 10 each hand. This is my third set of this superset. So the first superset was like a bicep tricep thing, and this one is like a tricep shoulder thing. But the shoulder movement is still a pull, so I'm doing an upright row, which I'll kind of show in a second. But again, kind of going by that whole concept of challenging my muscles in a different way than a regular lift by doing stuff like isometrics and holding. And also getting an overhead stretch by supersetting an overhead tricep extension. By supersetting two tricep movements back to back, I'm able to create more metabolic stress, which is essentially a better pump in the tricep, and drive it to failure and go hard, even if it's with a lightweight or a relatively lighter weight. For the shoulder movement, I'm doing an upright row, alternate upright row. Going light enough to where I can get 10 reps, but also to where 10 is not failure. The shoulder movement is, in this case more so, is to keep the heart rate going a little, but to get some volume into the shoulder. Also, you'll notice that once you've already done a few other movements, regardless of what your third or fourth movement is, you probably won't be able to move a whole lot of weight, but still the movement is going to be challenging on the muscle, even if it is relatively lighter than what you're accustomed to for that exercise. At least for me personally, that's true. I don't know about you guys. But yeah, that's the second superset. I'm gonna keep going till that feels good. So for the next I probably should try to put these buttons on. Okay, 1 second. You know, like I wouldn't be so picky, but sometimes the audio just turns out weird, and I don't want to take that risk of having to do a half voiceover, half record, or whatever. Anyway, so for whatever this is, I think this is the third superset. I'm doing like a landmine based shoulder giant set with some abs at the end. So for the first exercise, I'm doing kind of this explosive press. So I have no weight on, but I'm going to press with a lot more force than I have to, kind of to go full motion. This is what it looks like. And I'm almost yanking it back down. Kind of working the explosive motion, but not necessarily putting myself at the risk of having a heavy weight here, but still trying to push it as hard as possible. Then so that's kind of like the press motion. So now I'm trying to hit like a side lateral. The landmine is kind of heavy for this, so I'm only going for 5 reps. However, because of how the landmine is structured, it moves ahead. So the anterior deltoids actually operate in a straight and angled plane instead of straight forward or straight back. So this actually, you'll probably feel like it hits your medial delt a lot better than a regular side raise. And it looks kind of like that. Just try to bring it side, but let the angle of the landmine guide the position of your hand, because it is going to take you where it needs to be. Going for 5 each hand. If you can do more, do more. I'm going for 5. Then, so that was a press, a medial, and now to hit the rear delts. I'm doing a perpendicular row, but stepping to the side of it, such that my rear delts are stretched. At the bottom, I'm really trying to loosen my hand so that my rear delts are completely stretched. And once I make sure they're completely stretched and I've mentally connected with them, I just row it to the side, going for 8 each hand. I don't know why they have to play the music so loud at this time, because it's going to make for a painful editing session. And that's it for the shoulder part of things. And then I'm ending off with some side twists with a 15-pound kettlebell. I'm kind of just letting it fall and letting my body move with the momentum of it. Don't try to control it. Let it sway. But then from here, use that backwards pendulum motion and contract your obliques at the same time, and then let it go. Let it swing, come back up. Swing, come back up. Swing, come back up. You're getting accustomed to the idea of moving with momentum, but also being able to use the elasticity of your body to kind of give that stretch reflex and control it to give that swinging motion. If someone's like a baseball player or any kind of movement that requires you to rotate at the core, this will be something that will help develop that. Also, if you're looking for good obliques. But yeah, that's the third superset. So for the final actual like shoulder arm movement, this is a shoulder movement. And after this, I plan on going to do abs. So anyway, you'll notice that there's a lot of abs in this too, but it's almost like a transition into abs. So it's still kind of shoulder dominant. But so double hand shoulder press, come back down, swing, press, swing, press. Going for 8 each hand. The explosive press focuses on the shoulder, and then the twists and bringing it up to the middle. It requires the medial delts to function in order to bring it up. I think it's a mixture of like the medial, rear, and the front, but at least personally I feel it much more in the medial, and then the press makes me feel it in the anterior, and then the twist also you'll feel it in your core. Then I'm going into like a row to press. So the row looks like this, and then the press. There's no way to kind of display the motion in slow motion, except you're kind of exploding with this arm, and the bottom hand comes and presses with the momentum generated by the other hand. And you're trying to bring your core in at the same time to generate the maximum force possible. Your goal is not to just barely lift the weight. You're almost trying to throw the weight and then use the bottom hand to guide it into position. That was the third set of that. We'll do one more set, then abs. All right. So, I'm training with a friend today. And so when I have a friend, I like to do ab exercises that I can only do with someone to help me. So what we're doing is this sit-up where one ball rests on my leg, and so my bottom core has to stay activated to keep that in position. Here, kind of like you take a soccer ball when it goes out of bounds and you throw it that way. That's the motion you want to mimic with your upper body. So your friend catches it, places it back on your leg, and then you keep switching balls and just go to failure. Keep going, keep going. Okay. Go till you hit failure. 3 sets of that. Okay. So for the next ab exercise, which is also the last exercise before I hit the sauna, I'm going to do a oblique thing. So one ball comes I'm trying to resist it. In the process of resisting it going that way, this core, side of the core stays activated. Then I'm hitting, bringing it back against that momentum, bringing it back, and then giving it. Then the next ball comes. Trying to do this repeatedly for about 8 each side. Okay, and then switch sides. Okay. Whew. That's it for today's workout. I won't record the sauna. But yeah, see you in the next video.